fit for my company? And my like answer or my thinking about it goes back to the John Allspa presentation from 2017. It was stamped like the topic of it was how long can your service survive without any kind of maintenance, right? And he was talking about this line that is like dividing your mental model of the application from what is actually inside of application, what is actually happening in the application. So if you ever see in your work in your team this kind of basically distance or this kind of divide between what your intuition is telling you that service should do and what is actually doing, the observability is good type of investment for your business. Like depending what you are doing, like if you are creating something like, I don't know, the candy delivery for the kindergarten, it's probably your hobby project, so you don't care about observability that much. You will just buy another pack of candies for the kids in the kindergartens. Good. So there is one thing that I wanted to mention about the vendors and why in-house observability has one unfair advantage. The vendors cannot access your data. So they cannot say, okay, let's use this persistent schedule for this service and have longer persistent schedules for this tracing data because it's financial, right? Like Datadog we will never create basically some kind of dashboard or decision according to that because they frankly don't want to. And due to GDPR and other constraints, you don't really want to share your client's data with them. So, and when it matters is that if your solution is really small, it doesn't really matter that you are sending all of data to them. But if you are emitting around 100K spans per second, and if you have 11 terabytes of data to capture 1 day of tracing, the cost is gonna be huge if you just want to save everything for 30 days, and it's non-efficient and nonsensical, frankly. So there is one solution that the vendor will push you to, and that is sampling, right? So let's sample the data. The one thing that is problematic is that if you are going to do head sampling, you need to separate context. You cannot sample your health checks and your cart buying basically endpoint together because like you will not catch anything. Basically your metric data is worthless, your tracing data is semi-worthless. So you need to really create basically head sampling categories, and it's difficult to maintain, and there is no automatic way how to do it really because the tracing by itself doesn't know what is important for you. The other solution is tail sampling. So you are ingesting everything till some level, and then the last OpenTelemetry collector or somebody, let's create tell it as a role that has every span in a given trace is saying, okay, did I saw anomaly in this trace, for example, long latency of some span, or did I saw error in this trace? And depending on that, I'm deciding if I'm tracing it or not. This has two problems in the OpenTelemetry ecosystem right now. You need to have load balancer type of OpenTelemetry setup. So try to imagine that you have 27 services. They are working on single workflow, single trace. And in the end, you need to collect all the span data from 27 services to one OpenTelemetry collector for it to work. And this is if you are on the upside, you are saying that this could be really problematic. So, and the other thing is that because you can have long processes, right? We are using OpenTelemetry for the async processes as well. So asynchronous jobs that are running. Asynchronous job trace can take 9 hours. So you have basically the trace open for 9 hours, and something will after decide if we are sampling it or not. Okay, you will run out of memory like really quickly, like in this setup. So my point is that I personally think that for the production use cases, sampling is not really an option. The persistent schedules for different kind of data are, and one thing that is helping with persistent schedule is the metrification of data. So you are deleting the data, but you are keeping the valuable parts. And the other thing that is starting to crop out, I was mentioning the pipes, and Kafka is good pipe. So you can basically transfer all the tracing data or telemetry data from the open telemetry collector to the tracing backend by using non-transactional pipe, like Kafka, or I don't think that we have RabbitMQ or something like this available so far. But there is push on the ClickHouse side to make it available. There is push on the Jaeger side to make it available. So we should be getting something like in the next year or so. Okay, what I wanted to say more is that the overall ecosystem of the paid and non-paid solution, like it's really competitive. You have a really big amount of big players that are pouring money. We were talking about the Lightstep acquisition by the ServiceNow. I don't think it was Cisco. Because Cisco acquired Splunk last week. Too, they have both. Okay. So Cisco is gunning for the top quadrant. We will see who will acquire Datadog, because Splunk and Datadog have the around the same market cap. The thing is that incumbents have a really high pricing for everything, right? We know that New Relic, Datadog, Splunk, and any kind of these kind of services are expensive. But at the same time, what OpenTelemetry did is, because you are no longer vendor lock-in to any kind of vendor, the new small companies like Signox and Quirn and BetterStack are cropping out. Is there anybody from BetterStack here? I'm just asking. They are Prague based, so yeah. These examples, why I select that, they are using ClickHouse as an analytical backend. So they are basically doing what you would be doing, but focusing on the indexing and visualization. Yeah, GitLab, Netflix, but the thing is that these companies are using it not for the open telemetry data, but they are using it for the business telemetry. So, for example, we were talking about Uber, right? For Uber, the metrics of their platform is core business. That is what is selling them. That is making the business decision if they are sending taxi there or taxi there. And that's the difference. You will be seeing basically these business use cases, but these business use cases will never be standardized. Don't expect that the GitLab will work on something that you will be using basically on the OpenTelemetry side as a standard dashboard. I don't think that this will be happening. But they, like, what we have still is the hard problem, right? The OpenTelemetry or metadata is bigger than the normal data. So the simple example, 10 kilobytes versus 200 kilobytes, this is small. Like example, you can get to the megabytes of data if your instrumentation is done by auto instrumentation. By the way, so the one thing that is bad in the OpenTelemetry ecosystem right now, if you are using auto instrumentation, you can get really bloated traces in some way. The other thing is that if you have bloated traces, is generally meaning that your implementation sucks. So the developers basically created something that is not really efficient. And the last point is really important. Like in our story, in our company, we started with Splunk 3 years ago with everything. It's a real struggle to sell the data to the teams. For the developers to look at them, look at the anomalies, look at the trends of the services clients. for it to be used by the product teams to do the evaluation if some feature is used or not. Like the communication part of the observability transformation of a company will actually take more the resources that you will expect. And yeah, there is no easy solution how to deal with that. I'm currently on the 5th round of trainings, and people are still not getting it really. So yes, but there are last. This is one to last slide to the end. So what I wanted, I didn't show any numbers. So I told myself, okay, I will have one quick, basically crossroads for the benchmarks if you want to see something. And the one good thing is that with the OpenTelemetry collector and one ClickHouse instance, you can ingest basically around 100K spends per second. So pretty much is going to last you for a very long time in these scaling instances. And it's really cheap. So if we are talking about simple setup, we are talking about four boxes that are driving majority of your data pipelines for the data telemetry. If you want to get more benchmarks, there is Jaeger and ClickHouse blog article from the last week that were discussing the implementation variants for the ClickHouse, and the ClickHouse has great blog article that is talking about how to connect OpenTelemetry with ClickHouse. Yes, that's my demo, and everything around it is basically based on that. And the last thing that I wanted to mention is trace-based testing. So we were mentioning basically CI pipelines and basically tests. Trace-based testing is similar to that you are writing expectations about the trace. So try to imagine that you have services that you don't want to implement the API like interfaces for, and you still want to integration test. Okay, trace has all the workflows in one test, right? So you can check basically, okay, did I call 70 times database? Yes, I called 70 times database because I have it in the trace. So it's cool feature to use on the local environment, and even screen production, depending on your sampling strategy, deployment style, and etc. What it's able to connect is able to connect any Jaeger instance. So basically, you are running Jaeger server. It's emitting the traffic with given trace, and then querying the Jaeger server back to make assertion. The other mode of operation is memory. So just storing the tracing data in memory. And congratulations, you survived. So I will take any questions if you have them. If you don't have, yeah, let's get networking and drinking and doing something else.
So is there any question?
Yep.
So regarding keeping the data, so persistence is easy, okay, and we can write tests for the tracing as well. So is there any best practice in terms of how long we store how long we should store the data?
Okay. Mostly, like in the spread of vendors that I research or work with, it's depending on the economy of their solution, right? So yes, it's lame answer, but for the Splunk is 8 days, for example, for the tracing data, and Metrify data is 13 months. So you can have nice trends, but you have only to trace it for 80 days. Frankly speaking, our support backlog right now, it's a little bit more to 6 months. So when somebody is researching the issue, the traces are not available. We are working on that to get it closer to that date. That is example for Splunk, but for example, the new vendors that I was mentioning that are using the ClickHouse, they are having traces for 2 weeks and metrics only for 30 days. So there is trade-off between the tracing versus metric data, and this economy will entirely depend on your indexing strategy and what kind of features you are promising to your clients. Yeah.
So follow-up question on this one, actually. So keeping the data for long is expensive. So is there any like approach or attempts at like, hey, there was an issue, please flag that time spent for me, and that just erase everything else, but just keep this time range around for a while?
Yeah,
and maybe even like have Prometheus just flag the stuff by alerts automatically.
Exemplars help.
Yep.
So 100% that. The other thing is that how you are defining anomaly or failure in the system, right? This is really hard because generally it's connected with business. Like for example, for us, the most support cases that we are solving are not errors; they are outcomes not achieved, or basically some kind of business things that are not visible in tracing data, but they can failing due to saturation of the services. And then the question is what it means to have saturated service, right? You in some cases you cannot go by the CPU or memory, right? It's some other bottleneck that is creating the issue for you, right? The best example that I have right now is AVS throttling, right? On the random endpoint or random service that you will encounter.
But let's assume I'm an operations person. I care about stuff when stuff is not working, and typically I have some metrics and I usually have alerts.
Yes.
So if I have those, would there be already established way to just like please?
I will say
delete stuff?
say it like this: if you have already established monitors, you have already created thresholds, so you know the logic for the persistent schedule that you need, right? Yeah. It's basically defined in that way. The one thing to say is that monitoring is not the observability, right? Monitoring is expecting something that already happened. Observability is your service reporting, okay, how am I doing? It's something different. The thing is that you will not, like if you are looking for the unknown, right? Or some black swan in your signal data, monitoring will not help you in general. So, but frankly speaking, like if you are looking at the black swan, you are not looking for the last 30 days. You are looking at the last 12 hours because black swan always have bigger impact. So somebody will call you or wake you up.
Okay, thank you.
You mentioned trace-based testing. Is there a way or a place where we would start, or is there any good documentation?
There is. I will share the presentation with Zdeněk,
okay.
and basically with links. There are currently two frameworks, TestTrace and Malibu, that are you are able to just run, use, and basically. But the thing is that I don't have direct experience how easy is to write this kind of test compared to Cypress, right? So
it's a hit or miss, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, I have experience with the trace test that I mentioned, and they have very nice UI. You can test on their site, and you can test it. And it's much more complicated. It's exactly that you have to what you want count, and if they make sense, and in which level, and all that things. I think the Cypress tests are the simplest. You have DOM and all the things. But it's valuable. Yeah? That's you make it, and I think the tools are on beginning. I think that will be much more better, special for how write the queries and all the things that need some improvement. I played that I think last year on KubeCon that we was in Valencia. That I first see the trace test, and I played after that, and they already 1 year later maybe they improving. Yeah. But it's good to look into, and special trace that they have nice in web that you can easily try it and play with it.
I would say it like this: like if you are looking for the simple string occurrence in given trace, like a regex parsing of 1 kilobyte of data is not hard, right? What becomes complicated if you are looking at the exact tag, at exact location hierarchy with given attribute. So it's similar to the HTML parsing, right? Like some of us probably remember how hard or how easy it is to parse HTML code for a given class attribute name combo according to the specification in JavaScript code. Like it's the same kind of difficulty to do it.
Anyone else?
You mentioned before that there are some big players in the market,
Mhm.
and you didn't mention Dynatrace.
It was there.
Was it?
Yes. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So that was answered. I never used Dynatrace. We weren't evaluating Dynatrace for the session M/Mastercard. So I don't know much about them, but I know that they are a company with long history of telemetry solutions for the application, more than 20 years. Good. So
So